We're gonna stuff this head of lettuce in there. Stuff that head of lettuce right in there. Shut the door. There's a head of lettuce in there. What is going on? Listen, by now you might have seen these little viral videos on YouTube or TikTok, what have you, Instagram, about this smokeless Chinese rocket stove. And the thing is, though, is the only people I've ever seen using this, touching it, talking about it, is the company that manufactures it. And you know, they have a link you can follow, but I'm not clicking that thing. So did a little Google foo, searched around a little bit, and of all places, Amazon, I found a stash of these that are in America. Trust the payment process, trust the shipping process. Went ahead and picked one up, and we're gonna find out what it's all about. All right, before we get trying to light this thing up and stuffing it full of wood and stuff, let's talk about how it comes. Semi-disassembled. This handle right here is not on it. This little door is not on it. Comes with its own Allen wrenches. They give you an Allen wrench, a little screw that you put the door on. And then this little attachment right here fits on the end of this knob with a little tightener. And that's about it. Only other things, you know, for addition is, for assembly, is if you want to use this height extender. So you could put like a walk on this. Just, you know, something a little more sturdy than this mid bracket right here is. And then this just, these come separate. You can take this down. These come off. Squeeze them. They pop right back into place. And then there's little cutouts right here in the top of this thing. You just line these up. Slot them in right there. And actually, once it sits down, it's actually, you know, pretty sturdy. They give you a scoop. Now, this is metal. You know, granted, it's a little flimsy, plastic handle, but it's going to give you a little room to get in there. And then these tongs, which are going to become, you know, part of your routine with doing this. If you want to put sticks in it and things like that, you're going to want to be careful standing over the top of this. I kind of like using it on a high surface. That way I don't get my beard over the top of it too much, you know. But that's where these are going to come in handy. You're going to be able to, you know, use it to stuff stuff in here, open the door and stuff stuff down to the bottom, you know, what have you. Around the edge of this is a fireproof, like a cord. So that what they do is they give you a couple backups. That way if this, you know, burns out eventually, you're keeping your smoke up inside of here. And then it also comes with the actual USB cord that you're going to hook up to it. All right, so like I said, what this is essentially a rocket stove. You know, it's something, this little flap opens up and you feed stuff in here. But the deal with this one is, over here on this side is a little box that runs a fan. And what you do is you take any sort of power source. This one's actually way more than you really need to run this. My experience with this right now is low is about 5 watts, and the most I could get it up to was about 10 watts. So, I mean, like I said, this is going to be overkill. The only reason I'm using this one is because it does give a readout of how many watts you're drawing, and I was just curious about that. So, semi-electric. You can put anything you want inside this thing. You know, they're billing it as, you know, you can set a log. Let's talk about it. You can set a log up in the front if you want to, if you want really extended time. These guys are essentially running this thing on chunks of wood. Let's stuff some stuff in here right fast. We'll throw some leaves down in there. This is some like barn wood that was broken off my fence. Couple other random sticks and stuff. We're going to toss that all inside of there. See if we can get this long one down in there. Oh no, we're going to leave that long one out for now. So let's just fill it up with some junk like they show, you know. They're putting stuff in the top. Now mostly they're billing this hole in the top here for after you get this fired up. But preloading your stuff in the front here. Now, I run this before. I run pellets. Fill up a red Solo cup of pellets, drop you a little wax cube in there, get this bad boy fired up. Perfect amount of time, 25, 30 minutes, get some dinner cooked, get this thing shut back down. Easy pellet cleanup. It's just dust in the bottom, you bang it out and you're good to go. Right, this door right here swings shut here. This little lever, well, so what it does is it adjusts so you can get tightness, but once you brace it up against this lever closed, spin this back down where you don't get any smoke off around the edges, you're pretty much ready to light it. All right, so here's what we gotta do. Turn her sideways. Over on this side, like I said, is the control panel for the fan. Plug her into any little USB-A. It's got USB-C that plugs into the port right here. And you're under power. Make sure your box is on. All right, so we're off currently. So if you just turn it on and there's just a whisper of a fan going, I'm not even really registering wattage right now. So as you turn it up a little bit, okay, start to hear the fan actually blowing. I'm at 3 watts, down to 1 watt. And then if you crank it all the way up, 8 watts. So like I said, this big box right here is actually really overkill. I probably plan on using a really small one that I'll keep charged, that I'm gonna Velcro right here to the top of this. Easy peasy. You know, like I said, this thing, you get it fired up and fired back down in one of those little deals probably several times over the course of a weekend. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put the fan on just a whisper. And I'm gonna use these tongs that came with it, and I'm gonna grab, I grabbed a little hunk of grass off the ground. And we're gonna see if we can't get this lit. We're gonna stuff it down inside of there. Once it starts to burn a little bit, I'm gonna bring the fan speed up. Oops, I must have turned off over here. Bring the fan speed up. We got a little smoke right now. You see a little smoke coming out of here. I'm gonna tighten that door a little bit. Now some of these leaves and things I got in there start to catch. I'm going to turn this fan up just a little bit. Well, see, right now we just smoldered in there. All right, so I had the fan a little high. This is one of the things we're going to talk about is it almost seems like the fan on low is going to be your low setting, and then when you crank the fan all the way up to high, that would be your high setting. The thing I've noticed is if this thing isn't really chocked full, once you crank it up to the high setting, you're just blowing way too much wind in there, and it's actually putting out as much fire as it's stoking. So this thing actually runs the best on like 25% from my experience. All right, we are just over a minute or so on this quarter fan. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to start to turn the fan up just a little bit. I'd say we're at about a quarter, give or take about a quarter right now. Like I said, be careful with your beard. Checking this out, but we're definitely getting, she's definitely got heat coming out of it, right? So then what they say is, after it's burning already and you want to add more stuff, you toss it in the top here. Now, a couple here safety things I have noticed that I do want to discuss. Okay, if your fans are running at your own risk, if your fans are running, you could open this door if you wanted to, okay? Because it's giving itself its own air. Now, if later on you turn this fan off and you open this, it's going to backdraft and it could shoot fire out of this. You saw it start to surge off the, see what I mean? So if you're going to open it, I don't recommend it, but if you do, the fan on. Okay, so here you can see back, look, as soon as I turned that fan back on, all the smoke was gone. Fan off. Phone back on. You can hear it kick in like a jet. So we're going to run it at about 25%. She's getting hot. Like I said, I'm going to throw a few more sticks in there. Now, the way this little grill here is set up, your beauty for setting a pan on there, and you're getting, I mean, it's blowing right into this size of pan. This is going to be a hot pan, okay? Or, you know, these little brackets are still enough to put something like this on it. But that's where this is going to come in handy right here. So this rack, like I said, well, it's going to be a little tricky now that I got the heat going, but not impossible. Put that side in, put this side in, work this side down. Okay, Bob's your uncle. You got your bracket back on top, right? So now that we're big bracketing, you know, it's going to be a lot more comfortable to put this on top of there. And it's plenty of sturdy. Maybe you want to bring a walkout and throw it on something like the big ring. I really feel like this is going to open up a lot more use for me for this TLUD set. It's got a big giant roaster, you know, that it was just awkward sometimes for me to figure out how to use. But now, it fits right on top of there. It's beauty. And you'd be stir frying it up, making a, you know, probably do a good braise in this thing, whatever you want to do. We're going to switch to this plate right here. We're just going to do some grilling. So we're going to let this heat up just a second. And we're going to talk about this setting like I said over here right now. So you can play with your power setting for your fan. And lower, you can definitely see a little more flame right there. And then as you bring it up, you start to get into the rocket furnace aspect of this stove. Alrighty, we're at about half power. We've been about 2 minutes. I'm over 500 degrees in the middle. 360 up to 4, let's count the edges. 250 right on the very edges, so, you know, should be plenty. We're gonna sear this steak right here. Okay, so while this is searing off, listen, one of the things that the guy in the viral video does is he stuffs giant wet bundles of leaves and things like that into this furnace to show that it's smokeless and that it's so hot that it can just burn through and stuff. And it's the middle of winter. I don't really have a whole lot of brush. Live in an oak forest, so we are gonna back this open just a little bit. We're gonna open this door. We're gonna stuff this head of lettuce in there. Stuff that head of lettuce right in there. Shut the door. There's a head of lettuce in there. All right, the flame is still coming just as hot. Easily at 500 degrees over here. Let's turn the fan up a little bit since that's so heavy in there. All right, so believe it or not, smokelessly, we are cooking this steak on a head of lettuce. All right, so we've been a minute or two on this head of lettuce cooking. We are still at, well, it went down a little bit. We're just under half right there. So close to 500 degrees, 495, 511. Oh, here's something else. The wind is kicking up really bad here right now. And this flame is not really affected by it at all. It's still blasting. It's got its own wind coming, you know what I mean? So it's forcing its own issue here. Let's take a look at this piece of meat. I mean, beautifully marked. Set her back down here in the middle. Oh. Get her going again. I'm gonna be honest, this thing seems to be working pretty good. Let's see what's up with our head of lettuce. Oh, the head of lettuce is gone. There's still a couple of wet leaves right here on the edge. All right, so look, I'll tell you what. As long as it took and hard as it was to figure out how to get it, and as easy as it turned out to get it now, like I said, I'm going to leave a link in the description for Amazon. I have an affiliate link down there. It's just going to give me a small percentage. I'm not affiliated with these people in any way. Trust me, I had to jump through some hoops to get a hold of this thing. But click on the link, take a look at this thing, see if you like it. Up here, I'm going to put a video for another rocket stove I've done recently, and then right above me, I'm going to put a link for some other electric cooking products that I reviewed recently. I appreciate y'all. Y'all take it easy.